What's up, everybody? Just got back to my room after a wedding, but had to give some thoughts about Ole Miss's win over Georgia. We'll do the live stream on Sunday night, like usual, to get your feedback then, but still could not go a day without talking about this game a little bit. So, first, if you're new, my name is Michael Borky. We do live streams 3 nights a week right here on this channel. I'm with Sports Talk Mississippi, a daily radio show statewide, Monday through Friday, all that good stuff. But for now, I would invite you to please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. It's a little bit more, kind of more professional looking than this, but again, was at a wedding tonight and just got back. So first of all, I'm happy for you guys if you got to go or even just witness it, because as a sports fan, you ask any sports fan of any team in any sport, and there's like a handful of games that they can point to that they'll remember forever. And for Ole Miss fans, I hear the most about from you guys is 2014 Alabama. And even though it was a loss like 2003 LSU, but you've got those handful of games where the atmosphere was unreal. And like even today, the weather was bad, but it was the kind of bad weather that makes it like an iconic thing. And the atmosphere, despite the weather, like it enhanced it almost. It made it even better. And it's one of those days that you have as a fan that you will never forget. The field storming, the field goal posts getting taken to the square, the storming the field 16 seconds early and having to clear the field and then storm it again. It is one of those nights that will have images that will live in Ole Miss lore forever. It's one of those, and it's really cool. But I think more importantly than that is that even though there was a field storming and it was one of those epic days, to me that game is about validation. Validation for a lot of people, but validation for Ole Miss as a program. Because, I mean, we talked all offseason about it, moving up a tier. Can they do that? Blah, 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 right? They've adapted to this new era. Grove Collective, well-funded. Can Ole Miss take that step forward? And I think today was them not getting in, like, I still don't think they're in the elite tier, right? You have to win a championship first before you can start talking about that. But they demonstrated today that they can just line up as a program. They can build a roster. And people talk about sustainability with Ole Miss's roster building. This is year 4 of the portal era. This is year 4. A year ago, they won 11 games. This year, they lined up and whooped Georgia's, forgive my language, but they whooped their ass today. That is what happened. The score doesn't even indicate how mismatched those two teams were on the field that day, because Ole Miss spotted Georgia a touchdown on the opening possession, and after that, Georgia scored 3 points, under 60 yards rushing, under 200 yards passing. It was a dominant performance. Ole Miss was significantly better than Georgia. There was no fluke about that. This program, this team, and how they built it, it's not the national narrative about Ole Miss and roster building is wrong, and the concept of sustainability is wrong. They've done it for 4 years. They're coming off of an 11-win season, and they're on the verge of having at least a 10-win season following that. And in 2021, they won double-digit games there. This is a sustainable thing for Ole Miss. How do I know that? Because they are sustaining this level of play over years. And so I think as a program as a whole, it was validation. It was validation for Ole Miss that you can get players. You can, in this era especially, compete roster-wise, because on the field today, Ole Miss looked like a championship football team. Again, there was nothing fluky about what happened there. They were better than Georgia. They lined up and they kicked their ass. That was not a fluke. That was not a one-off where some lowly underdog sneaks up on somebody one day. That is absolutely not what happened. That was just one team better than the other. And Ole Miss is, I think, is validated nationally as a program that can compete at this level. That they still have to go win something to get to the top tier in college football, but the program has elevated itself, and today was validation for that fact. We thought it going into the season. Today validates that. Today was validation for Lane Kiffin. The narrative about him and the inability to win big games, I think, was unfair, because when you win as many games as he has at Ole Miss, you've won big games to do that. but that narrative was gone. His team was not only prepared to play today and through defense, really, and building this team through defense and hiring Pete Golding and all of that. Still, credit does go to the head coach for that, but also had bad weather conditions and a quarterback that's banged up and a tight end that's banged up and an offensive line that's kind of started to figure itself out without their best receiver. And the game plan was phenomenal on offense. No, they didn't score at a super high level, but they called a great game today, offensively as well. So his team was prepared to play. The moment was not too big for them. I mean, we can all talk about the Kentucky game again, but this game today for Ole Miss was a brilliantly coached game in a spot where Lane Kiffin has come up short in the past. And so this idea that can't win big games, well, he just did. He has before, but this one is different. So it's validation for him. It's validation for Jackson Dart. It's validation for Pete Golding and the Grove Collective and how they spent to build the roster. It's validation for Jared Ivey and JJ Pegues and Princely Umanmielen, who, I mean, ask Florida people when he hit the transfer portal what they thought about him. There were narratives about Princely, and look at what he did today. Walter Nolan, Chris Paul, all of these guys. The whole team and the whole coaching staff had something to prove, and today they proved it. Austin Simmons proved it today. I mean, what is this game without that drive where he steps in and is surgical and leads them down the field and they score a touchdown and everybody got to take a collective breath after the worst imaginable start for Ole Miss in that game. I mean, a horrible start. And Austin Simmons, of all people, had to come in, the backup quarterback, and boom, sharp, touchdown. Without that, the result of this game might not be what it was. And what you can do now with Austin Simmons is you have something to point to for life after Jackson Dart. Look at what they've got. Look at what life after Jackson Dart can look like. Smart kid, like good teammate, all that stuff. But now you have like the proof of talent-wise, life after Jackson Dart looks good. But that's the biggest takeaway today. I mean, defensively, just unbelievable. And remember how many people told you that Pete Golding sucked. Remember that? We've talked about that a lot too. But, I mean, I have that one Alabama fan that used to get my Twitter mentions all the time about how bad Pete Golding was. And Golding sucks. And he was holding Alabama back. And that Pete Golding's defense certainly doesn't look like it's holding anybody back. So we'll talk about this more in the live stream tomorrow. But I think today is a validating day for Ole Miss football, for Lane Kiffin, for Pete Golding, for Jackson Dart. And now we'll see if they can close it out. They are significantly better than Florida. They're significantly better than Mississippi State. And I think the timing of the bye week is huge. So they don't have to try to come down off of the euphoria of the win. They can, they have the off week to kind of allow them to reset themselves before they get back into what are two critical games. But they're going to move up big in the polls. They're fine. They are fine. If they win those next two games, they're a college football playoff team. It's a validating day for Ole Miss, a dominating day for Ole Miss. And, hope you guys enjoyed it. I know you did. So we'll be back again, live stream tomorrow. I'm gonna drive home from Nashville in the morning, and I'll be back plenty of time to be live with you guys tomorrow night. But I know you enjoyed the win. I hope you're still safe and enjoying your weekend, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.